Hello everyone, at Perfect Androgyny, I'm your Wednesday special guest. It is me, the artist formerly known as Viscount Strophanthus and Lady Monday of 5 Awesome Chinese. I'm back. Now you can just call me Alex. Pleased to meet you. My new channel is called Coiling Aspen and I'm eager to produce a bunch of art and vlogs. And it is my pleasure to be your first guest vlogger on this first Wednesday of Perfect Androgyny. Now some of the more inquisitive among you might immediately be wondering, Alex, why are you guesting on the first Wednesday of a channel when they don't have a person on Saturday? And you would be right to wonder. And the answer is that I actually need your help. I have applied to be one of the new vloggers of the Geek and Sundry Vlogs YouTube channel, and right now they're having a period of community feedback, which means that I need your votes. So if you feel so inclined, you can go over to geekandsundry.com/vlogger/Alexander-Reduns and vote for me and watch my pitch for the dark-sided vlog series. Now this is a bit late, there are only 2 more days left of the voting and I can use every last vote I can get, so if you would be willing to help me out, I would love you eternally. You can vote once every 24 hours through June 27th, and every possible vote that I could get right now will help me. And thus, the time-sensitive nature of this predicament and Joe's boundless generosity is why I'm your Wednesday this week. It's not actually a tribute to my dear friend, the ex-Lady Wednesday of 5 Awesome Chinese, as much as I wish that it were. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, on to the topic of the week. Gender. Now this is quite interesting for me to talk about because gender was also the first topic that we had on 5 Awesome Chinese, which is this channel's ancient predecessor. And I think it's actually quite interesting and fitting for me to address gender right now, and then I'm coming back to the internet after a long hiatus. And there are certain key things of my gender expression that I have changed that might make people think I went through some sort of dramatic transformation into a boy. Because I come back and I look quite a bit more like a boy than I did when I left. For those of you who don't know, here is some reference. It's me! Monday. Oh, and this looks familiar, doesn't it? Which is interesting. And I know exactly how I've changed and why I've changed, and I will elucidate that for you here. And because there's already apparently some drama regarding the amount of drag queens on this channel. And if you remember me, you'll remember that I love drama. So here's how gender works, right? You have your internal identity, how you see yourself as a gendered person. And then based upon your feelings and how you desire to be portrayed, and how you understand gender based on what society has taught you, and you use all that knowledge to modify your behavior and enact some sort of gendered performance. I believe that inherently all gender that we perceive on someone else is a performance. We use their performance to gauge where they fit on the gender spectrum. Thus, there's an interesting gap between your internal identity and how others perceive you based upon your gendered performance. Now, internally, for me, I still identify as genderqueer. And identifying as genderqueer for me is almost more of a statement about how I think about gender than it is a statement about me. It gives me, I feel, a certain amount of freedom to express various points on the gender spectrum, but despite that, I still feel like I'm a mix of gender. I prefer to place myself somewhere in the middle of the spectrum. Thus, androgyny. Despite looking more like a boy these days, I don't really feel comfortable when people call me sir, or man, or bro. Makes me want to vomit. And perhaps more importantly, and why I like genderqueer as a definition, I've always felt that gender is a lie. And all of us are more just humans who happen to have a biological sex. So androgyny. It's more universal, I think, than most people realize. I think almost everyone is androgynous to some degree. We all have masculine traits and feminine traits in certain degrees. It's just how much we're willing to express and show that. There's always a goal behind taking action to craft one's appearance. And thus we can examine the differences in my gender expression now and why I chose to do what I do, and why I chose to do what I did when I was Strophanthus. I've only really changed a few key things, which are as follows. Shorter hair, no color here, here, or here. I wear boots that are not as tall as they used to be. Now on my personal channel I will do an extensive examination of Strophanthus and the changes that have occurred in my thought patterns, and my emotions, everything that's gone on with my beliefs and my thoughts during the Strophanthus period and in the time leading up to right now. And here I'd like to address one portion of that. With Strophanthus, I was embodying my ideal of beauty. And nowadays, I've made a slight shift in where I'm not being my ideal of beauty, I'm being my ideal of attractiveness. Which is a very interesting little distinction, because to me, makeup isn't, and never was, something that's attractive. All this artifice was beautiful, but it was also intimidating. I used it sort of like a veil. I wanted people to see me and think that I was beautiful, but I also wanted there to be some intimidation. I wanted there to be some barrier. Because when I was Strophanthus, I was very anti-human. I hated humanity, including my own. That's sort of where I've made major changes. I don't hate humans as much. I'm trying not to hate them at all. That's a little difficult. My time as Strophanthus does actually have quite the dirty underbelly. I'm looking forward to analyzing it fully. And these days I've become a bit more accepting of humanity, even the humanity within me. But in many ways, the way I think about my appearance hasn't changed at all. The same idealizing procedure of self-generation, but different goals. That's where I am these days. And thus, that brings us to the perfect imperfect androgyny. Perfection is an elusive and unattainable goal, and I'm still sort of struggling with my perfectionism. Yes, I am a perfectionist and I struggle with my perfection. The reason that I'm back on YouTube now, as opposed to like far in the future, is because of this Geek and Sundry opportunity. Otherwise, I think my perfectionism would have dragged out the return quite a bit. Perfection is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. At its worst, it will kill you, and at its best, it will drive you insane. But is the madness worth it? Might be. I don't know. I'm still insane. Perfection is one of those annoying things that either nothing is or everything is, and you don't really know which one. In many ways, we are perfect beings, as we are. So, my perfect androgynous bloggers and my perfect androgynous audience, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed my guesting. Wednesday, I'm sorry for stealing your spot and for bumping everybody back a day. If you want to keep up with me, subscribe to my personal channel, Coiling Aspen. That's where most of my videos will be going. I wish you good fortune, much awareness, and great self-satisfaction. I shall see you later, perfect androgynous individuals.